Separate from my presentation today, which is on ecology, which is part of the great conversation, I guess. I've been watching a lot of videos on Mortimer Adler, folk like that who promoted that great books as lifelong learning, meaning that you would come back to the great books of Western civilization multiple times during your life with greater and greater understanding as you're able to contextualize it. Ideally, for him, the first time through would be at a place like Harvard or Yale or University of Chicago or Oxford, where you'd be with a group, and then throughout your life revisiting those and contextualizing it within your work, within your family, within your social life. Interesting idea, but it turned out being very conservative, right? And I think anything that's made for just conservatives or just liberals limits itself. But something like it would exist in music, where you'd have the great works of classical music and the great works of jazz here in America. Definitely making a lifelong study of those would be similarly educative for someone, and for someone to revisit that great story that starts with Hildegard of Bingen, goes through the Middle Ages, Renaissance, classical, romantic, impressionistic, expressionistic, 20th century, and then more or less dies, or the jazz, which begins with New Orleans, goes into Chicago, big band era, bebop, fusion, free jazz, and it more or less dies in the universities too. But there's still something to study in that, not just as a historical thing that existed, but definitely as a historical thing. But just revisiting this music, because it really is great music, even if it's not alive anymore in the same way that it was when it was still a conversation. It's still great music. It's still pretty interesting music, and can help you think about your life, your place in this universe and on this world, and understand modern music as well. Maybe.